last comment before I go on my other. MP La Cruz mentioned an app. I'm not too sure if he meant, let's say, a specific an app, but I would suggest then even a chat box on the government website. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to, MP, but a chat box on the government website where a person can just type inside of it and there's already preloaded information. Yes, no, you go ahead until you get the information that you need. And yes, it's we live in very modern times. There's already companies, and some companies the government already works with that can help to implement that very easily. I know Ms. Snyder is a very hard-working lady at the Civil Registry, and at times even has even short staff. And I would even suggest then that DCOM works with the Civil Registry when it comes to communication. I did see, and I did have some complaints regarding letters that were sent out where persons were very worried about being deregistered. And the dates on the letters also didn't make sense. I would say it would say that so the letter came in September saying that you were deregistered in June. So the times didn't match up. So I don't know if you could look into that. And again, also the communication to individuals. So this person, for example, that I have a few actually. So this person, for example, they live in the same location for 15 years. They said they never got a letter before. So as was previously mentioned, we have to now look into the post office, etc., in terms of is the person living at the unit actually receiving letters? And if they receive their voting card, now why would we think that they are not registered as property? Because they recently voted. So it's kind of confusing in terms of why would a letter go out, seeking to see if the person still lives there, but a voting card goes out, and the person has been living there for at least 15 to 20 years. And like I said, I really would strongly recommend communication program with DCOM. So not, let's say, Civil Registry trying on their own with their own budget. No, we have a communications department. Let them create a strategy for you to be able to communicate to the individuals about this program, especially the deregistering program. That'll be all, Madam.
Can any update be given with respect to the street naming project? Is there anything new and additional to tell us about what's taken place there? And a lot of reference is constantly been made to e-government, digitalization. A lot of money is being budgeted in order to get there. But how close are we to the part of having a PIN by whatever name we are going to call it? In other words, a personal identification number. How close are we to that? One. And this big digitalization project of St. Martin, why can, like, a parliament that is also in the same process of digitalizing as much as we can, why can't we be part of that big overall program of government so that we all can benefit from whatever expertise or whatever else one would have? So those three questions I would like to add to my previous questions, and I thank you.
I remember during the presentation, there was a point given that if someone is born here of Jamaican parents, they don't automatically get the Jamaican rights. In certain instances where there's civil war and different things, like let's say in Haiti, at this point, how does that work? Because I know that is the whole government apparatus there is in shambles. In cases like that or any other part of the world, because we have over 100 nationalities, how are these things handled? I remember, I think it was after the earthquake, a couple of years ago, there was some sort of leniency given as to the approach. I would like to know if that is still applicable now, given their current situation or any other situation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Your question for giving back answers to the questions, I have the proposal for, if with your permission, to come back in a week's time to give answers to the questions, or to your decision and discretion. A other option is also for me to send the answers in writing. It's up to you which one you want. I can do both of them.
Before coming to that decision, is there any feedback from the members? Is there an objection to getting it in writing or not? MP Westcott Williams, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairlady, and thanks to the Prime Minister for his proposal as to the continuation of this very important topic. I can agree to receiving the answers in writing. If the week can also be where it pertains, the week's time can also be where it pertains to the answering in writing. And based on those answers and the information received, this committee can decide to continue in whatever fashion on what it is that we receive from government. I think that's also important to establish, and as soon as we possibly can as a committee. So I would want to see maybe a combination of those two things. Thank you, Madam Chairlady.
Thank you, MP Westcott Williams. MP Doran.
I don't want to sound repetitive, but I wasn't too clear what my colleague just mentioned. But if it is that we receive it in writing and still continue with the meeting, then I'm all in favor, because I think that this is a topic that touches many individuals within our community, and for them to hear it, it's much better than we as members of parliament receiving it. And I would like to suggest that both happen. So if we get it in advance so that we can study it and have a more constructive dialogue, would be my preference. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Doran. MP Irian, you have the floor.
Thank you. So I'm not for the questions being sent in writing in this particular meeting. I also have questions posed officially to Parliament to the Prime Minister almost 3 months now without a response. So I don't really trust getting my answers on time when it comes in writing. And as MP Doran mentioned, that there are a lot of people tuned in to this meeting today that want to hear the answers, and this will be posted on the radios of government and so forth. So I believe that we should come back in person to have this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, members of parliament. I will then now decide that the proposal for the questions to be received in writing in a week, and then parliament. I hereby close this committee meeting, adjourn this committee meeting. My bad.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
It's hurricane season. Are you prepared? Here are a few tips to keep in mind to help keep you and your family safe. The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th, with the peak occurring between mid-August and late October. This hurricane season, be sure to put together a go bag. A disaster supply kit including a flashlight, batteries, cash, first aid and supplies, medications, and copies of your critical information if you need to evacuate. This public service announcement was brought to you by the government of St. Martin.
Story of a woman's strength and will to live in the face of adversity. Ramarda Lyons has the story of Novelet Mighty.
Impressive power or strength. That's the meaning of the word mighty. This woman is just that, both by name and nature. She's Novelet Mighty, and 3 years ago, Mr. Death knocked at her door. But she didn't let him in. And her survival, after not 1, not 2, or 3, but 6 gunshots, has left her with a newfound purpose.
I'm here for a reason, and what came at me, the spirit and the universe think that it was not my time, and I'm here for a purpose.
Still shaken but determined to make ends meet. At the center of that determination, her 3 daughters, who've seen firsthand their mother's resilience.
There's not a day when I don't remember to give God the praise.
But how did she get here? It was October 2021. She just returned to the Greenwich fishing beach after delivering fish to clients. The fisherwoman sat in her vehicle, face down in her phone, until she saw a shadow. When she looked up, repeated loud explosions, then the perpetrator ran off. She thought her life was over.
I said, yes, this is it. But for a moment, I was like blank out. The first one that I get, it was in my face. But what caused me not to get the headshot is the moment when I glanced up to see who was standing at the door.
She wanted help desperately.
But I realized that I was not blacking out. I realized that I was able to see things. I realized that I was not losing focus. So the moment I realized that I was not losing focus, I realized that I can help myself.
Her first instinct, drive to hospital. But it was easier said than done.
When I turned the key, I realized that the right hand could not move. So I realized that I got hit in the right hand. So what I did now was just use the left hand to turn the ignition and drive.
She raced against time as she bled out in the car. And when she finally reached the hospital, she had the strength to park, get up, and run inside.
I said to the porter, gunshot. I could not talk properly because the mouth was memories in the face. I get the gunshot now, so I realized that I get it through the mouth. I realized a lot of things was going on in my mouth, blood and everything.
In the emergency room, worry set in when a doctor started counting her gunshot wounds.
I said, doctor, are you going to save me? I remember that. The doctor said, I can't save you. Ask the Lord to save you. You're a lucky woman. You know how many people came in here with one gunshot and don't survive?
With your ray of hope, I'm Romarda Lyons.
In this multiple victim violent incident, we are very disturbed by this, but I invite Jamaica and the press who are here with us to recall that a few weeks ago we had a press conference at the office of the Prime Minister to discuss what we saw as an emerging trend in violence and in particular homicides in Jamaica. This is as a result, we theorize, from our very effective approach in neutralizing, eradicating, and in many respects disbanding gangs in Jamaica. We have moved from over 300 documented gangs to now just under 180, and we continue to degrade and eradicate. So we take careful note of the change in the nature of homicides in Jamaica. And though it is not yet the majority of homicides, where the homicides are committed in what we are describing as multiple victim violent incidents, rather than the term mass murder, which we're seeing generally used, which connotes a different kind of act. We are still very much concerned that it is a growing profile in the homicides that are being committed. These homicides, these murders are being committed essentially by gangs. Now, whilst the police have not definitively concluded in this specific instance that it is a gang-related matter, from what we are seeing so far, it is highly likely that it is a gang-related matter. The challenge, of course, is that the communities that are involved may not necessarily identify the players as being involved in a gang, because by and large the community members would not be necessarily aware of the intricacies and details as to how these gangs operate. But one thing we can be certain of is that gangs have access to weapons.
They acquire them, they stockpile them, and they distribute them. They exercise control over them, and they use them to exercise control over territory. They use them to conduct illegal activities such as extortion, trafficking, and other kinds of illegal activities. And ultimately, they use them to inflict harm, violence, and ultimately death in the pursuit of their gang activities. Whether it is reprisals, whether it is robbery, whether it is extortion, whether it is protection, they use armed violence to exercise control and influence over geographical areas. And they use them ultimately to spread fear. One thing that would have come out of this is an incredible fear in the communities that adjoin this area. It is a natural response for 5 persons to die within less than 15 minutes of each other, each incident occurring. And the nature of how it happened. This is a bar with an outdoor area for entertainment. Jamaicans all over, we gather, we sit around a domino table, we have fun. You know, this is how we socialize. And for someone or a group of persons to believe that it is, you know, okay to just walk up onto the street side and shoot innocent persons, from all intents and purposes so far, what the police.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SHV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SHV is cardless. Request your My SHV account today and enter the virtual office of SHV. Go to shv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurance.
It's time for a new brand that is as bold, vibrant, and colorful as the island of St. Martin, with colors drawn from our diversity, cultural heritage, and nature. Our breathtaking beaches, waters, and sun, the majestic brown pelican, our national symbol, the radiant yellow sage, our national flower, the historic border monument signifying the Dutch and French sides, our exciting cruise, yachting, and boating ports, renowned Maho Beach and St. Martin Airport, the hub to the Caribbean. All these parts come together to create the shape of the island of St. Martin. More than a logo. It's a new brand that engages, excites, and will inspire travelers to book. It's time to tell the St. Martin story, to reintroduce travelers to St. Martin, to honor our past, to embrace our present, and shape our future. Our culture and diversity, Dutch and French sides, unrivaled cuisine, twice the nightlife, entertainment, and shopping, cruises, boating, and yachting, twice the adventure, exploration, and relaxation, splendid and scenic accommodations, Pinel, Tentamar, and island hopping in the Caribbean. Whatever your taste, St. Martin has more. Experience twice the Caribbean. St. Martin.
I'm usually very mild-mannered when it comes down to criticizing this government. And this has a lot to do with, for the energy sector, trying to achieve greater unity and consensus. But today, I proclaim that we have not seen in any government since independence such gross mismanagement of the energy sector. And I believe what is happening is that the government, rather than pivoting for growth, is pivoting to elections. We have seen tremendous hardship to the consumers, but we've also seen, because of the high price of electricity, the lack of growth in our economy. Jamaica's energy cost is one of the highest now in the world, coming from 23 US cents per kilowatt hour in 2016, when we left office, to at times way over 40 cents per kilowatt hour. To solve the energy crisis, you have to have laser-like focus on both energy generation and energy transmission and distribution. It won't be solved by some half-baked, cynical, hand-wringing scheme at the 11th hour on the eve of national elections to throw little and meaningless goodies at the problem. We started a mini-revolution of the energy sector between 2012 and 2016. We intend to complete that revolution from 2025 until the completion of our first term back in office. Our accomplishments in the period 2012 to 2016 saw the diversification of fuel sources, where over 90% of our electricity was generated from heavy fuel oil and diesel, to a situation come 2016 where 60% of our electricity was generated from LNG and about 20% from renewables. We also did certain modifications of the license to make it far more beneficial to the Jamaican people. We focused on cutting line losses by increasing penalties, and we did introduce prepaid arrangements with the capability to go island-wide. In fact, we introduced a pilot in 2014, and the Prime Minister is unaware that that pilot was expanded nationally by the time his government took office. Total electricity theft today, as a result of the failure of this government, is greater than when the JPSCO was sold in 2001. No new procurement, except for an announcement that we believe the Minister will be making this week, after promising over 240 megawatts of renewable energy in 1 year, and then for it to be increased by 100 megawatts. We are seeing the government, after 9 years, announcing the award of licenses for 100 megawatts of new renewable capacity. And this is an instance of gross mismanagement. In 2013, we were able to secure procurement after 1 year in office. And why this is so egregious is that because of what has happened with solar, we are seeing now prices, bid prices for electricity at below 8 US cents per kilowatt hour. These licenses will not take effect until the PNP is returned to power, and no earlier than 2027. Our solution give power to the people, to democratize electricity, to recognize the power of solar, and also to negotiate a new license with the JPSCO. We, when the time comes for our manifesto to be revealed, will show to Jamaicans that there's tremendous hope for the future with lower electricity prices. The party leader has already commented on the reduction that was announced by the Prime Minister of GCT from 15 to 7%. The GCT reduction disproportionately benefits high-income earners. More than 75% of households will experience minimal relief, with savings capped at about $237 per month. And also in relation to prepaid meter rollout, again, the fact of the matter is that we did start in 2014 this prepaid facility, which was abandoned, really, even after we were able to demonstrate its success and the fact that it was capable of going nationwide.